Morning, this is Philip Koerper. This is the Philip Koerper Show. This is episode 116, January 22nd, 2020. So early this morning, Chuck Schumer kept on going. The Democrats kept on going with amendments which kept getting overturned in the impeachment of Donald John Trump. This continues to go on, and I've got some really good commentary, I think, on what's really going on here. And I wanted to try to sum it up the best that I can. I'm not a lawyer. I have friends who are lawyers, and I've done quite a bit of reading on this. First of all, last night before I went to bed, it was so funny. I was watching this on Twitter through the ABC News app, and Representative Jason Crow was talking. And I was listening to him talk, and I'm like, wow, he doesn't sound like he's very supportive of these, that he is supportive of these articles of impeachment. And so on the ABC News, the lower part there, it has his name, and then it has Big R-CO, Republican from Colorado, impeachment manager. And I'm like, what is going on? He's an impeachment manager, Jason Crow, and that name sounded familiar. And so I knew he's one of the managers. Well, I know this guy is not a Republican. He's a Democrat. ABC News has on, I don't know if they ever corrected it. ABC News had this on for as long as this guy was speaking that he's a Republican. You could see how this could really fool some people. Like, wow, they're watching this and this Republican's really going after Donald on this. He really thinks these articles have a lot of credibility, that he should be impeached. You need to vote to kick him out. Oh no, the mistakes that the media always makes are always against conservatives. So they mislabeled this guy, saying that he was a Republican when he's a Democrat. Oh, that it just, so the irony just is really crazy. So anyhow, the Democrats last night were, I don't know when this thing finished. But once again, they were making their Eighth Amendment. They're trying to change the rules so John Bolton can speak. They really want to get John Bolton to speak. This is just so ironic. First of all, John Bolton has executive privilege. Okay, well, it's not, actually, I said that wrong. It's not John Bolton who has executive privilege. It's President Trump who has executive privilege. There is special privilege when you're president of the United States. Those communications that you have with the president are going to be protected. And you might not have known this, I didn't know this, but I learned yesterday that spousal communications have the same kind of privilege. So do you know that your wife or your husband in a marriage, that the things that you guys say in confidence to one another, like in a court of law, those things cannot be revealed unless the other person gives permission. Quote, this is in Wikipedia under spousal privilege. The spousal communications privilege or confidence privilege is a form of privileged communication that protects the contents of confidential communications between spouses during their marriage from testimonial disclosure. So you can see how important this is for the President of the United States. So when he's with his advisors, he is free to speak. They discuss issues, these certain treaties, plans, very confidential information where they want the United States to go. John Bolton was in on all of those things. So if Donald does not want John Bolton to testify on these things, he can't testify. So it's not John Bolton's decision to make. Okay. And Alan Dershowitz pointed this out, that it's the president's decision. If Congress did not like it, they can go to the courts. The courts decide, and that is how the decisions is resolved. This is so frustrating because the Democrats are being so disingenuous here. So they could have got John Bolton to testify. When the House was doing their impeachment hearings, they could have asked for John Bolton to come and testify. Okay, and if they did, and they actually asked for a lot of the president's advisors to come and testify. And the president said, no, you're not going to talk to them. The president's not going to let those people come and testify because of all of those national security interests. And that is privileged communications. Those were private conversations that the president had with his advisors. And Congress, which is a separate power, separate but equal, Congress, the House and the Senate together, they can't just invade in the presidency in the executive branch of government and just dig around and get whatever they want. No, those are private. Okay, so maybe it would be reasonable that someone like John Bolton to testify. Maybe the president of the United States doesn't have a super good reason. Maybe there is not national security interest here. And so what could have Nancy done in the House, or Adam Schiff? What could he have done? Well, he could have subpoenaed John Bolton to come and testify. Okay, and if the president turned that down, then you go to the courts. Okay, you go to the third branch of government. You go to the courts to decide if this is a reasonable thing. Whenever, with the three branches of government, whenever there's a problem between Congress and the president, the executive branch, then you go to the courts for a remedy. Oh, I talked about that with the passport thing with Barry Obama's administration. And so did Nancy do that? Did Adam Schiff do that? No, they didn't do that. They said, they've got all kinds of excuses why they didn't do it. We didn't have time. It would take 8 months. We got to really hurry. We got to, the next election, he's going to contaminate the next election. The orange man is bad. We've got to get rid of him. We got to move. We can't wait any longer. The whole country is at stake. It's like the climate change thing. We got to spend all this money now. 12 years, we'll be dead. So no, she never did go to the courts. And you know why? Because they would lose. They would lose. The judges would rule in favor of Donald on this. And so this is so disingenuous. So they don't do that in the House. And then they go to the Senate, and then Chuck Schumer goes, oh yeah, we want John Bolton. We want an amendment. We want John Bolton. So, once again, okay, they're butting right up an executive privilege, and they know they're not going to get it, but they whine and fuss and moan, and they want the Americans to see how unreasonable the Republicans are here. What are they hiding? Oh, they are hiding something. Oh, it's so amazing. One of my friends said that, if you in court argue, like, what is Donald Trump hiding? That's illegal to do in court. You can't do that. That's misleading. It's wrong. It's not fair when you do something like that. When you make that accusation, when you ask for something and someone doesn't have to reveal it, and then you go, oh, you're hiding something. Okay? No, remember, innocent until proven guilty. That doesn't work. So this is just hilarious. It's really funny. So Chuck Schumer, he just vows that he's not going to back down, So he's going on and on. The senators can only have water and milk, for subsistence. This is really hilarious. So all of these amendments keep being, it's a party line vote. So the Republicans are completely unified. This is purely partisan, 53-47, with, of course, Bernie Sanders, the independent, voting with the Democrats. So these amendments that the Democrats keep trying to put on there to change the rules. Remember, the rules of the Senate were voted 100-0 in the Bill Clinton impeachment in the Senate. 100-0. And guess what? The Republicans were in control of the Senate back then. Wow. So we've got so there was bipartisan support in the Senate with the Bill Clinton thing, but there is no bipartisanship going on here. The Democrats are completely unhinged. I guess they think, like I said yesterday, they really lost with Mueller, and so they got nothing to lose here. So they're just throwing the kitchen sink. They're just going to go at it. They know they're going to lose in the Senate, but they're going to make a big scene, and they're going to cry, see, so there was a cover-up. The Republicans, they were just biased, and so that's what they're going to yell. And so this really got testy. With Nadler is just gone crazy. Nadler was talking about impeaching the president back in 2018. So, we know that these guys are going crazy. And so Nadler was just really going after it. And so Jay Sekulow really put him out, like how Nadler says executive privilege and other nonsense. So Nadler is just really going crazy. Jay Sekulow is defending the president, and then even the Supreme Court Justice intervened. He said, "It is appropriate at this point for me to admonish both the House managers and the President's Council in equal terms to remember that they are addressing the world's greatest deliberating body. One reason it has earned that title is because its members avoid speaking in a manner and using language that is not conducive to civil discourse." Roberts continued. This is from Fox News. In the 1905 Swain trial, a senator objected when one of the managers used the word pettifogging, and the presiding officer said the word ought not to have been used. "I don't think we need to aspire to that high standard, but I do think those addressing the Senate should remember where they are." Oh, I love it. Oh, Jerry Nadler's, he's unhinged. Oh, he's accusing the senators of a cover-up. Oh, what theater! It's just theater. This is just pure political theater. I really agree. Well, let me mention what Alan Dershowitz said, which I really think is just so true. So remember, Nancy was talking about this is a forever stain. This is a forever stain on Donald Trump. No, that's not true. Okay, and Alan Dershowitz points this out, and some of my friends have too. No, so this is an indictment. The House, the articles of impeachment are an indictment. Okay, and against, it's like, and then it goes to jury, right? The senators are the jury now. So if you are indicted for doing something wrong, a crime. Okay, of course, we don't have a crime here with Donald, but if you are accused of a crime and you are acquitted, we don't say, "Oh, you're still under indictment anymore." No, you're not under indictment anymore. You're acquitted. Okay, you're exonerated. Okay, and so if you are acquitted of something, you're not indicted. So this Nancy talking about this forever scar on Donald Trump, this asterisk of a presidency, it's just so bogus. All of this is going to show that the Speaker of the House who got power hungry and went berserk and made up a bunch of garbage on the President of the United States, and then he couldn't even find a crime, and then just threw the kitchen sink at him and threw a bunch of bogus articles of impeachment to the president. And so basically, I love how Alan Dershowitz has said that these articles of impeachment have not risen to the level of high crimes and misdemeanors. They haven't, and that's why none of the Republicans are going to side against Donald on this. These articles of impeachment are completely bogus. Abuse of power. Okay, Congress cannot accuse the president of abuse of power. They can't. That's a subjective thing, and then they've gone after him for policies and things or maladministration. The Founding Fathers were very clear on this, and this is why this hasn't ever happened. We've never kicked a president out using the impeachment power. Why do you have to have a 2/3 vote in the Senate and only 50%, half the vote in the House? Why do you think the Founding Fathers set that up? They knew they wanted to make this very hard to do. It was going to have to be a bipartisan effort. Okay, and this is why this will be Donald Trump will be acquitted. So if the President of the United States is there a remedy if Congress is abusing their power? Can the President of the United States do anything about it? No, he can't. Now, the judges can throw it out, like if there's abuse of power in Congress and they pass a law and they override the president, Congress can call that an unconstitutional law and throw it out. So no, you can't impeach Nancy Pelosi. The only thing we can do is we don't reelect her. Okay? We throw her out of office. They're in there for 2 years. We throw her out of office. So abuse of power, when a congressman does it, or really our only remedy is to vote him out of office. Abuse of power of the president, we don't have a remedy for that. There isn't. Now, you can have a high crime and a misdemeanor to throw him out. The president's going crazy. But abuse of power, there is no remedy for that, okay? You just vote him out of office. It's a 4-year term. You vote him out of office. He's term limited. He's gone. So there is no remedies for this. for abuse of power. Okay, it's a subjective thing. I don't think Donald Trump's abuses power. I like it that he's using his power. We elected him president of the United States. We have given him, his power comes from the people. We have given him this power. We won in 2016. Donald Trump won. The Democrats, they lost. It's winner takes all. Our president's in there. We want him to use as much executive power as possible because that's why we elected him. We did not want HRC to do this. Okay, so the Democrats are such poor losers here. They are such poor losers. We won the election. It's our president. We want him to use that power. Oh, the Democrats, the occupant in the White House, they won't even call him president of the United States. Odious Omar won't even call him that. So we want him to go. But the Democrats, they say he's an illegitimate president. They've been trying to sap his power. You know, people like Rand Paul are always trying to take power from the presidency. Well, that's a power grab for Congress. Would you rather have like a parliament kind of government, a super powerful Congress that can dictate? Oh, good luck getting them out. You know, if they're crazy, how are we going to get them out of office? I just told you we're going to have to vote them out. That'll be very difficult. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. It's like 535 of them, senators and representatives. No, the president's a lot easier to get rid of him. He's committing crimes. We can impeach him. But if he is abusing his power, then we vote him out. Oh, we just wait 4 years and then he is totally gone. Oh, the founding fathers were so smart the way they set this up. So I think Andrew McCarthy is really making a good point here. You know, the Democrats are saying that there's overwhelming evidence that Donald, the orange man, is bad. Okay, that he's abusing his power. It's an affront to the Constitution. Okay, yeah, but they want more witnesses. They want more of that. These are key. These more evidence, more witnesses. This is key. This is vital. This is crucial. Oh, okay. Which one is it? Is there overwhelming evidence? And why do you keep fishing for more? This is just like the Kavanaugh thing. Oh, they freaking dragged this out. See, Nancy just sped this thing up, and then after Christmas, Chuck Schumer, his goal is to freaking drag this out and throw mud at the Republicans and make them vote against it time and time again and scream cover up. This is a cover up. Okay, it's political theater. It's not even accepted in the courts. It's not part of fairness in our court system, but the Democrats don't care about fairness. Donald couldn't even, they're talking about this going into the dead of night and no one's going to be watching. Chuck Schumer said this is the dead of the night. Oh, what about being in the basement of the House with no one in there in secret conversations? Why did Adam Schiff interview these people in secret? Wow. Does he want privilege? Well, we want to know those things. What about privilege? Well, actually, he does have a little privilege, and he did pull that off. It was against the House rules, but he did it anyhow. This is the same thing when they discussed Obamacare. You know, the Democrats were putting all that hideous bill together. Did they do that out in the public and open? No, they did it in private, in secret. No, executive privilege. They were using privilege. They were not executive privilege of the presidency, but they were using their privilege to be able to discuss these things privately to hammer these things out because it's pretty ugly. It's pretty ugly when you're hammering things out and you're throwing all those ideas out there. Someone might hear one little thing and freak out. So I think this is really true. Now, McCarthy, with the Republicans, he says the president is taking... the president is taking the position that the facts need to be contested, that whether there was a quid pro quo and whether he did anything wrong needs to be contested. That actually supports the argument for why you should hear from witnesses who haven't been heard from yet and who may have things to say that are relevant on these different subjects. Now the Republicans can make the argument that the House should have called those witnesses or made a better effort to get them. The fact is that the rhetoric of contesting the facts is supporting the arguments of the people who say more witnesses are necessary. So, yes, this gets confusing. This is really frustrating because even if Donald Trump was totally guilty of abusing his power and obstructing Congress, those are not crimes. Those are not things that are impeachable offenses. Impeachable offenses are high crimes, treason, bribery, high crimes, and misdemeanors. That's what this is. With the Bill Clinton thing, he did lie under oath. Okay, no one contested that. He lied under oath. He eventually lost his law license from lying under oath. But those, according to the Senate, they acquitted him. They acquitted him because they did not rise to the level of high crimes and misdemeanors. And so the Senate here will make that same kind of decision. And so it's frustrating, though, when we can't just debate that these articles of impeachment are worthless. Even if they were true, these are not impeachable offenses. There is really no abuse of power. The president, he is using his power. If you call that an abuse or not, that's a subjective thing. Okay, some people are going to disagree. That's not impeachable. That's our real argument here. But we haven't used that argument so much because Jim Jordan's always talking about there's no quid pro quo. We released a letter and we're talking about all, we get caught in the mud and Americans get kind of glassy-eyed, talk about this and that. And the Ukrainians, most Americans don't even know where Ukraine is on a map. I mean, they just don't care. A lot of people don't care. I totally understand. And so it's hard because we've had to, defend Donald on the merits of this case, on all these accusations, and we're constantly defending them. And it's just frustrating how the Democrats keep attacking the president. Even Jimmy Carter thinks that Donald Trump has been attacked more than any other president, and the media has not been fair to him. I was watching a CNN take on Alan Dershowitz, and I don't know who the lady was running the show and that other guy. But these two other guys on camera are freaking attacking Alan Dershowitz. It's really hard for him to even get his thoughts in, attacking him. And, Fox News is going to be more gentle to Alan Dershowitz. CNN is attack, okay? It's okay. CNN they're going to pull the line on they have that super left-leaning bias. I understand that. You could still go there and learn about what the left believes, their positions. I do it all the time. I watch CNN almost daily to see what they're up to. What are their arguments? Well, how are they making sense of this? What is their side of the aisle? And then I look at what the conservatives are saying. It's really hilarious. Okay, we talked about spousal privileges. Yeah, my friend was up last night at 1:23 and Schumer still filing for amendments. These rules, my friend said, these rules he keeps filing were amendments to were agreed 100-0 in the Senate in 1999. I mean, really, the Democrats are just totally unglued here. So one interesting thing that Alan Dershowitz is using is these arguments from Benjamin Curtis. So this was in the first impeachment trial of Andrew Johnson. And this was just, this was a mess from the very beginning because, Andrew Johnson became president when Abraham Lincoln was shot. And Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. Andrew Johnson was a Democrat. And so when he became president, the Republicans really kind of just, he hated him. And then the Democrats weren't very supportive of him either because he was hanging out with Abraham Lincoln. And so a case had to be made about these duties and the privileges of a president of the United States. And I think that's just so important to understand that how the Democrats here are not even accusing Donald of any crimes at all, but just an abuse of the power, not using the power that he wields in the way that they want him to, or not following these policies that they want him to. And so it's really important to learn about how legally these three branches of government deal with each other. It can be very confusing. Well, thank you so much for listening. This is Philip Koerper. This is the Philip Koerper Show. I wanted to close, like I try to close on a spiritual thought. And I love the quote from President Thomas S. Monson, who was the prophet and president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the previous president. He's passed on. And he said, never let a problem to be solved become more important than a person to be loved. I really love that. I really love how we can solve problems and work on solving our problems, but we still, of course, will love and care for one another and treat each other with respect and kindness. We're all children of God. We're all brothers and sisters. And so, yes, we set up boundaries. Yes, there are evil people out there and we're going to throw them in jail. Yes, we're going to do that. And that's really, but that doesn't mean we can't still love everyone and keep God's commandments. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.